So, kind of just in a nutshell, why community college? There's a lot more reasons why a student can, maybe, and should in some cases, in many cases, choose community college to start their college path. Go ahead, next. So quality education at an affordable price. This used to be a really great slide that I really enjoyed showing brand new high school graduates. But right now it's an even better deal for graduates because now in many cases your high school graduate can get 2 years free. But as you can see here, even for those folks that come in and don't have necessarily any kind of tuition waiver, our Sierra College tuition, and this is actually just a tuition comparison that we have here. It's not for books or room and board or any of that, but it's obviously still a very affordable alternative for students as opposed to going straight into a 4-year university setting. And that tuition still sits for everyone at $46 a unit throughout the state at all of the 113 community colleges. So our options here, I'll get into a little bit more about the transfers, but obviously we have one of the highest transfer rates in Northern California. The CSU system has its own transfer program, as well as the UC, University of California. We transfer students to all of these schools all the time, and there's many ways to do so. So when you hear about a guaranteed transfer agreement, I'll give you some of the details on those, but even schools that don't necessarily offer a guaranteed transfer, the sooner a student commits to making that decision, to working towards that, counselors will help them with the classes that they need to take. I would encourage you or your student now, if they know that they want to go to a certain university, to go to that university website and check out those classes and exactly what they need. Because sometimes we get classes like, well, what's my AP class going to account for? But we don't know, especially if they haven't finished the AP class, if they haven't taken that test, they don't know what they got on the test, and they're not 100% sure what they're going to study. So the more decided you become, the more information you can really gather for those degrees. So we'll start off with our tag agreements, and many students have heard of tags. How many of you guys have heard of just the expression tag? So a number of you have. So that's exactly what it is, a transfer admission with a guarantee. These are the UCs that accept a tag agreement. And the way that works is your student starts college, they're going to take 30 units, so that's half of what it would take in order to transfer or to graduate with an associate's degree. So half of that 60 units. Now in some cases, students come in and they will have credits from their high school. They will have taken a class maybe at Sierra College or a class at Folsom Lake College. Any classes that you've taken for college credit might be able to count towards this, especially if they're a transferable course. So that's something a counselor is going to help the student with. So after that 30 units of doing well, the student sits down with the counselor, writes out a transfer agreement, and let's say they want to go study biology at UC Davis. So you're going to write the transfer agreement for biology at UC Davis, and we're going to send it to Davis to review. And they're going to say if the student stays on track and continues to do a good job with school, get the grades that they're getting, we will accept them on a tag agreement after their 60 units. So basically it's kind of signed, sealed, and delivered, and a student has that transfer agreement as a little bit of insurance, possibly, like I want to say, something that they can kind of relax a little bit in their hip pocket. Let's say their last year at Sierra College, they decide, I really think I want to go to UC Santa Cruz. They can still apply, they can still go through all the same steps a student would take to apply and transfer to a different school, and if they get it at Santa Cruz, they can go there instead. So it's not like once they make this decision that they are stuck with it, because we very much understand students change their mind and make different decisions. And then all of that to say you don't see Berkeley up here, you don't see UCLA, but we transfer students there as well. They don't need to participate in the TAG program, and so they have made choices not to. But this is an excellent way for your student to get a UC degree, if that's what they're seeking, and getting the first 2 years done at a much, much lower price, and in many cases free. The next one is an associate degree for transfer. We actually, if you haven't seen it, there's a table inside from the state chancellor's office that's exactly talking about this. So they're going to have information about all of these degrees, and they're actually an ADT. So if you see some of our information, you'll see an ADT or an AST on our degree sheet. So that means that we have those particular degrees. We have 28 of them that we offer as these degree transfers at CSUs. So what happens here and why is it different than if they just decide they want to go to Sac State? What happens at Sac State with business majors, criminal justice, sometimes sociology, and we won't just pick on them, but many of the CSUs that have impacted majors do not accept students as juniors into those programs. So they may get accepted to the university, but they may have to spend extra time, an extra semester, sometimes an extra year in order to get through those basic requirements in order to get into that actual school or into that program. These associate degree for transfer programs guarantee you that you have admission to that school on a transfer as a junior. So those are written to make sure that you take your English classes, your comm studies classes, the math classes, the things that you absolutely have to have that the four-year schools want to see you complete at Sierra College. So they're both a great way to go. There's a little bit confusion on students will transfer around, they'll move around the state and decide they're going to go to a community college somewhere else so that they can possibly get into that four-year school. Sometimes that works, but what you really have any kind of a leg up is really when you're from an area. So our regional students in the Sacramento region are going to have a little bit more of a priority at Sac State. So really moving other places is going to help you because you're going to be closer to those schools that you're interested in and be able to get more information, but it isn't absolutely going to be a guarantee that you're going to get into that school. So I really encourage a student to look at these opportunities as well. And obviously when you transfer in with a junior status, you're going to start taking exactly the classes that you need to take, okay? So I'll get through the presentation and then maybe we'll go from questions there. So one of the best reasons to go to a community college is a big class like a science class or a history class or an English class that typically freshmen will take. At Sierra College, we're going to have an average of 30 to maybe 40 students. If you go to a big university, your English or history class might have 200, 300 students. You can frequently maybe not know your instructor, or you'd really have to work at it for them to get to know you. So it's really nice small class sizes. The faculty are real sticklers on that. In some cases, our English classes have a smaller number of students at Sierra College than you may have at your high school. So they've kept those class sizes very small. The faculty are teaching the classes at Sierra College. If they're discipline faculty and they're academic instructors, they all have master's degree or higher within that discipline. If they're CTE or career education instructors, they have the appropriate degree as well as training or background in that discipline area. So you really have people that are really committed to what they're doing. The two instructors that are working here with me tonight are both the coordinators for the fire and the administration of justice program, and they really like coming out here and talking to students. And if you're interested in either one of those programs, the main folks that you'd want to talk to are here tonight. So we appreciate being able to share that information with you. So Sierra College, we were founded in 1936. We are a 4-campus district. A lot of folks think that we are part of the Los Rios district with our sister schools such as Folsom Lake and American River College, but we are our own district. Our main campus, of course, is in Rockland. Our Roseville campus houses our community education program, our health science, our fire academy, and the administration of justice programs in a really nice new building and right downtown Roseville on Vernon Street. And we share that facility with the city of Roseville. The city of Roseville also is our partner with their fire departments for our fire program. The Nevada County campus up at NC, There are, if you grab one of our degree sheets, you can see the programs where you can complete everything up in that area, but many of those students do come back and forth and take classes both places. And then our Tahoe Truckee campus, which is one of the reasons why we have dorms on campus, because when we first opened, a lot of those Truckee students needed to come down to Rockland to go to school because we didn't have a campus up there as yet. But we have a beautiful campus that looks like a giant log cabin, and some students actually go up there to study because they want to, and they want to be in the mountains. So we are really proud of our campus right now. We have a lot of fall colors. We are in the midst of a lot of building, and we did have a bond approved, so we're excited to be able to expand our facilities and add new buildings, a lot of new amenities that's going to be very nice for students because it's been quite some time since some of those were upgraded. So our enrollment process is going to be very similar to any of the ones you've heard about from possibly Folsom Lake or American River. The students can apply online. Right there, the application opened on October 1st. We used to wait till spring to open the application, but in light of everything that's going on with all of our efforts for free tuition and to help students, we've opened up our application now for the second year in a row, the same day that the FAFSA or the financial aid application opens up. So we've been able to do that on October 1st. We did have a preview day in September, so they even actually opened it up a little bit sooner on September 21st. So that's available to anyone to apply for a spring class, summer, or next fall. If a student is interested in taking a class while they're in high school right now, as long as they're a junior or a senior, finished sophomore year, they can talk to their counselor here, sign up for a class still for this coming spring or for next summer if they haven't graduated and they want to continue that on in their last couple years of high school. Like I said, a great way to build up some credits. This is no longer do you have to submit your official high school transcripts. We're going to get those transcripts when you graduate. We're going to have that when those are complete. We are going to assess you by the last class that you took in math and science and how you list that on your application. So a new bill was introduced throughout the state, and so that is something that we're trying to remove as really a barrier to get students to come in. We want you to be able to come and attend school. If you are really in higher level math classes, we'll work with the assessment process or have some discussions with counseling on where you need to start. Once you've completed the application, you get an email from us to activate your MySierra account, and then it will give you steps on what you need to do for orientation, which we now call our CAP, our Career and Academic Planning. So you would call and make an appointment to come in for a CAP session. You don't need placement unless you're going to take chemistry. You would want to check the placement schedule for the chemistry times. And then you would come in and see that counselor and create your student education plan. So that's going to be your first year, and in some cases be able to outline for you maybe even longer for a decided student where you need to start at Sierra and how much time you might need to spend with us. Then once all of those things are complete, you will have a time ticket in your student account and you'll be ready to register online. So for instance, students that might be graduating at midterms, so maybe they're graduating at the end of this fall and want to start school in the spring, they would be able to start registering for those classes the second week of November. And that would be about the same timing for students that are still in high school that want to also take a college class while they're in high school. Let you go ahead and go. Okay, so this is what the MySierra account looks like. Essentially, that's going to be what your login looks like where you want to set up your account. And these are some of the different tabs. So many of you might have gone to the financial aid session that was prior to this. And so once you've completed your financial aid application, and we receive it at Sierra College or any other school, you're going to have financial aid awards that are in your MySierra account. And so I tell people frequently, just as a really simple rule of thumb, just complete the FAFSA application. If anything's wrong or we need additional information, it's going to tell you in here what we need to have. but you want to do it as opposed to worry about it. Okay? And most of us are the same way. You feel like you don't want to do something wrong, but most everything is going to be able to be fixed, or we're going to be able to find out what you need. So assessment and placement, let's just move on from this one because we don't need this one actually at this point in time. Our Learning Resource Center, it is our tallest building on campus. It's 4 stories tall, and this is not only a lot of our resources, tutoring, and those kinds of things are offered here, but we also have our Student Support Center, which is now on the 4th floor of this building. So we've taken all of our degrees at Sierra College and we have put them in like groups and called them interest areas. So if a student has an idea what they may want to study, but they're not exactly sure, things that are similar are all grouped together in interest areas. So those students taking classes, especially general ed classes, are not going to waste time, or they're going to be able to use those classes even if they change their major. So we really want to make sure that students are more and more prepared. The minute a student applies to the school and they've registered for classes and they're ready to start, on the top floor of this building there is a support specialist that's assigned to them. And that person is kind of a daily drop-in or a go-between person between that and academic counseling, for them to get more help with possibly math help or tutoring, or am I in the right major? Do I need to see another counselor? Are there questions that someone can help me with where I don't have to go and make an actual appointment and wait for counseling? So we're really, really excited to see that. I'm hoping as time goes on, this is our first full year we've finished with support specialists. I think they'll be able to refer students to informational interviews, to internships, to doing the kind of exploration or get the help they need to make sure that they know they're in the right area with what they're studying. I mentioned briefly our residence halls. Right now we have spots for 120 students. Part of our bond is to have even more. There'll be even more dorms, I believe, out behind our football field. So we're excited about that as well. They are always filled every year, and the application opens in March. So if there's any interest that you have of being local, and a lot of people think, why would anyone want to do that? But we always have some local students that kind of want to go away to college, but they don't have to go so far. Please do fill that out. And if you get on a waiting list, that's okay, because people change their minds. There are dorm rooms saved, some for athletes, some for foster youth, and some for international students. But we always have a really great mix of students there. And a lot of those students end up working for us on campus. I've had several of them work for me in the hub. It's a great way to feel more included and feel like you're not maybe being a commuter student. Excuse me. Just some of the support programs that we offer at Sierra. We want to help first generation students. We want to help anybody that has any disabilities, help folks connect in groups, whatever way they see fit. The Learning Center, the Writing Center, all of these places where more and more people on our campus are going to refer students so that they're going to be successful at whatever it is they're trying to do, whether it's a certificate, whether it's a degree, or whether they're transferring on. So academic enrichment program, I mentioned that a little bit. This is basically the requirements for that. So they need to have completed sophomore year. They can start taking classes as early as that summer after their sophomore year and really be able to add up a number of classes. We have a student working for us right now in outreach, and she came in with 24 units just by doing it exactly this way. She basically started taking a class in the summer, then she took 2 classes the following summer, but she took a class each semester while she was still in high school as well, in the later afternoon, at night, and then she realized she was comfortable with trying to take one online. So she's got the equivalent of way more than a semester done to start school. So it gives herself a little cushion. Because the current time frame, we want to tell students to be a full-time student in order to get out in 2 years and transfer. And sometimes, especially if a student has a heavy load of classes, that 15 units can be a lot. And some students will take 15 or 18 and really realize that might be too much. So any cushion you might have where you don't have to do that is really helpful for you. And they're free. All important. You can't forget to tell you that. Financial aid application, like I said, that's open. You want to make sure that you try to get that done before March 2nd, because Cal grants still do close on March 2nd. And the sooner you get it done, the more you may qualify for more grants, scholarships, work study, those kinds of things, especially if more than one person in your family is in school. So Wolverine Sports, we do have 19 different intercollegiate teams. We've been real fortunate that our sports have done really, really well. Swimming and diving and water polo have won awards in the last number of years. Right now, I think our women's soccer team is undefeated. And so it's pretty exciting to see. We have baseball championships and basketball championships under our belt. So if a student really wants to pursue their degree and continue on with athletics from high school, the community college is a much, much better way for many, many students to be able to do their sport and be successful in school without really taking on something that might be too much. They can decide there. I just talked to a student who's going to come and play water polo for us next year, and he said, I'll decide while I'm here if I'm going to go on to the 4-year, but I know this is going to be the better path for me, and I'm going to save a lot of money doing so. Student Help Center at the Hub. I think my 2 years free slide possibly didn't get in here, so we'll do that at the end. So we really want to be committed to helping students. We're going out to high schools in our local area. Whenever Mrs. Reed in the Career Center invites me out here, I come as well. But we're really, really actively involved with the California Promise Grant in our local high schools, helping students there and not even having them come out to the high school, out to the college as much as they used to have to do so. So we want to help you find the information that you need. So our hub is our student support center that is exactly that for students right now. In January, it will be renamed as the Welcome Center, and we're going to offer even more opportunities for students there. But right now, the late nights would be Tuesdays and Thursdays till 7. So for anybody who wants to come after school or after work, you can get some help. Lots of student ambassadors to help you there with the process, and they can tell you exactly how it worked for them. Okay, so the 2 years free and the California Promise, we just found out this last summer that we were going to have 2 years free and not just the first year free. So we're really excited to be able to offer that for students. So really the main things that you all need to know is that you need to be the full-time student. So for financial aid purposes, that's at least 12 units a semester. If you want to finish in 2 years, you need to take 15 or you need to go to summer school. And then you need to complete the financial aid application. The other caveat is the student cannot have any prior college that they took after high school. So academic enrichment classes, classes that you take in high school for college credit, AP, none of that counts. But if a student leaves school for a couple of years and has gone and taken maybe 6 units and decided they didn't want to go on, unfortunately, at this point in time, they would not qualify for 2 years free. But every other new high school graduate that decides to come to community college is going to be able to get this essentially just a bargain deal. And when they first even told us this was going to offer, I said, really? We're really going to have free college for everyone? It's absolutely everyone. And what the Promise Grant did, to let you know, there's a lot of questions about how that can happen and how the grant funding works. If the student is eligible based on need after completing the financial aid application, they would get the regular financial aid that they might have gotten in the first place. So every other student that may not actually have really been able to qualify for financial aid at a community college several years ago now will be covered under the 2 years free or the California Promise Grant. So really what the financial aid application does, it just tells the state where the funds need to come from in order to help the student. So that's the easiest way for me to explain that to you.